Today, we're gonna learn how to tie a horn knot from a fellow legend and a Radiator Ranch top hand, Dusty Burson.
So we're going to make a horn knot here. It's just it's a lot of people use a horn knot like so, and that's just another way of doing it. That it's always on your rope. You know those. I like doing it like this better because they're not as bulky. When you're done with them, they're a lot smaller, and they don't. They don't, you can just carry it on your saddle like that, and if you wanted a dally or something, you don't have that sticking up like that. And it's another way you can tie on. So first thing I do is you want to figure out how long you want your rope, and then it takes probably a foot or a little bit longer to give yourself plenty of room, but about a foot is plenty. So you need to measure how long you want your rope to be, and then just put your piece of tape right there. And we've already cut this in, and you unravel, and then we're going to tape all the ends.
You always tie off?
Oh yeah.
What about Colts?
Yeah, that way if you fall off or something, you still got whatever you caught. Every now and then on a colt, I'll in the dragging pin, I'll tie on just
You'll dally, you mean?
I mean dally. I'll dally in case there's a lot of other people in the pen and stuff. That way, if something's gonna go wrong, you can undally. But then after I drag a calf or two, I'll go ahead and tie on. But that's what's nice about this, is if you can get your rope down and catch something, and if you don't have time to put your horn knot on, your horn, well, you can dally, and it's not, it doesn't take up. You can pull it down. It's not dangerous for running your foot through it or spur rail through it or anything like that. So anyhow, so we just unraveled about 1.5 feet here, and then we're going to tie a Turk's head. A lot of people call it a rosebud, but whatever you want to call it. To tie it, you got your 4 strands going 4 directions, and you just go over the one next to it, and then the last one goes through there. And this is called a crown knot. That's the first knot that you tie, is a crown knot. I learned that too.
Yeah.
But the crown is just the part that gives you the box, or the little square, So, and you can do this with a 3-strand or 4-strand or even a 5-strand. I've done it before. So the next thing you want to do is go around and then up through the middle, and all the strands will end up coming out the top of your little square from your crown knot. And I'm sure there's, research or find a way if you don't know how to tie that, if you're not familiar with tying this knot. But all of them just go around one, and then across there's a little X. They go up through the middle. So we got all of them coming out the top. I'm just gonna kind of snug them up. You want it tight, but you don't want to just get it so tight that, because we're going to run all these strings back down through there, and so you don't want to get it too tight or it'll be kind of tough getting them run back through there. So the next thing, you want to, we're just going to braid 4 around because it's a 4-strand rope. If it was a 3-strand, you just do 3 flat, but to do 4 round, go under 2 and then back across 1, under 2 and then back across 1. So it's under 2 over 1 sequence. You just want to braid that, I don't know, what is that, a couple of inches, and
Kind of test it.
you know, you can kind of test and see if, you know, you don't want it to be too tight or it'll be real hard to get off of your horn. So, you know, to me that's going to be pretty snug. So I'm gonna braid a couple of more.
Is your that first Turk's head rosebud knot, is that a, do you leave that knot loose, or?
This one?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's what I said. I kind of try to get it, you know, you want it tight enough to where everything lays pretty, but you don't want to just get it too tight or it'll be hard to, because we're going to run all these strings back through it. So if it's too tight, it can be really hard or impossible to get them back through. So that's something you just kind of have to play with. I mean, I've got it pretty tight, you know, and you want to get it as tight as you can, just without, so that it's not too loose, but that it'll come off. But so I braided a couple more, and you know, and you can test and see where it's gonna. Like I say, I like to have a little bit of slack in it, so you can see a little bit of daylight, and that's gonna be about right for the deal. So next, in a real narrow pair of pliers, needle noses works. You kind of need, especially the tighter you get your Turk's head, it can be hard to get them through there. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this around our rope, and then we're going to run all of these strings back down through the Turk's head, and tie another Turk's head on the bottom of this one, which will keep it from pulling back through itself. So I'm just going to lay it over, and you know, you can kind of tell which strings would go best through which part of the Turk's head. There's 4 places where on the Turk's head that it's can come out, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I've got the one running down, and I'm just going to go to the next place on the Turk's head where they cross, and there's a kind of a little space at the bottom where you can tell it'll come out. Just get the next one to it. pull it down. So I've got all 4 of these strings running back through the Turk's head. So I'm going to take my clip off that was holding my braid and just pull all these down. Then we look like that. Like I said, you know, you want it tight enough that it's not gonna come off your horn, but you want it loose enough to where it's not hard to get off. So that's something that, you know, a lot of times kind of personal preference, and you can just play with it as you go. So next, we're gonna tie another Turk's head around the rope below this Turk's head, and that'll keep it from. So to tie this knot, it's the same way. You just act like that rope isn't there, more or less. You just go over the strand next to it.
You leave your tape on there?
Yes, sir. Just to keep it from unraveling. So then you got your crown knot, or a little square, and on a 3-strand rope it'll be a triangle. Then you're just gonna go around and up through the middle with all 4 strands. And there's a little, kind of a little X there, so you go around it and then under the X. And then just kind of snug it up. A lot of times you know, if you just go straight to it with your pliers, you may have it tied right, but the way you pull it down, it'll kind of mess up how the knot lays. So it's good to just snug it up by hand first, and then get your pliers and tighten it on down. So now we've got the next Turk's head tied, and that's what it'll look like. And so now all we got to do is cut our strands off and burn them. And you know, when you're cutting it off, you want to leave a little bit left to burn, but so I just kind of fold it over like that. And that'll leave you enough to burn where it'll keep those strands from coming out. Then you just get your cigarette lighter and just burn each one of these strands. And then mash it down and just go around all 4. And you're done. That's just the final product. Another thing you can do though is, you know, a little piece of parachute cord in there just to help you, you know, getting it on and off. A lot of guys Boots O'Neill's the one that taught me how to tie this. He doesn't like anything, but you can put a piece of leather, you know, blood knotted, just for a little latch to help you pull them back and forth. But that's kind of an optional thing. But when it's ready to go, you can catch whatever. I've never had one pull out, so it's just, like I said, it's another way. It's just the same purpose as a horn knot, but it's just kind of a neat way to do it. And you've got it in your rope here, you know, and you can, as you use your rope, you can retie your Honda and just move it down, and your rope will be a little bit shorter, obviously, but you can just keep using that one. You know, this one I've cut and retied the Honda several times in it, and it's still in good shape. So.
Hell yeah.
Cut.